Hi, everyone. Okay,
Hello.
okay, oops. Okay, I see four people now. Hi, William. Okay, William is joining. Okay, so for today's call, we have Laura here. So she's going to be asking me questions about finances in terms of for young working professionals. So she will kind of be like an interviewer for me, or whatever question she want to ask, whatever question you guys want to ask. Okay. So before we get started, Laura, why don't you introduce yourself? I know we met here on LinkedIn, and then I came on your podcast. It was fun, and then so yeah, and then now you're here. You're my guest. So so tell people more about what you do, so I don't miss anything.
Yeah, sure. So, very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. So, I have kind of a lot of going on in my life, and I wanted to come to you to ask you for help to sort things out. But basically, I have a 9 to 5 job working in inbound marketing, and I have a few marketing clients on the side, and I also have the No Formula podcast where I interviewed you. And that's basically my life in a nutshell. But what really attracted me to the LinkedIn Live that you have is during our podcast, you were telling me how money has to work for you. And I've been saving money since I was very little, since I was like 8 years old. Okay, my family's always told me to save, but keeping all my money in the bank at a 1% interest rate is not working for me. So,
Okay.
so because it's not working for me, I'm like, okay, I need to ask more questions and learn more about maybe investing and ask more about other things that I can invest in, maybe property. And also, I have questions about the podcast. I started as a hobby, and everybody has hobbies, but how much should you spend on your hobby? So on and so forth. So that's basically
Got it.
that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get started. So I know
Okay.
okay. You tell me what first question you want to ask. I'm just gonna go through all the questions you've sent me.
Yeah, I sent you a lot of questions. I'm like, this is my chance to get everything answered.
No worries.
Okay. So I think we should start with like the hobbies and stuff because that can
Okay.
relate to a lot of people. So
Okay.
I started my podcast as a hobby. Eventually it might be a source of revenue, but that's not for now, right? So as a source of revenue, how much should as a hobby rather, how much should you be investing in a hobby? $100 a week, $100 a day? How do you know when it's too much and when you should be taking a step back and saying, no, this is better off for an investment or savings?
Okay, so first of all, okay, so you have the No Formula podcast, and you have to determine first. Even this is a tax rule and tax law. Well, actually, you're in Canada, I'm in US, but anyway, so I don't know how yours work, but typically, I mean, even like if I'm just talking about financial coaching sense, you have to ask yourself: is your intention just a hobby or to make money? So then you have to be very clear on that one. So you cannot be like, okay, if you're just really just having fun, then okay, fine, just having fun. But if your intention is actually to make money, I think I would suggest my client to actually take it more seriously. Then if you're about to make money, then okay, then treat it like a business. Okay, so you have to treat it like a business. Like I'm about to get into real estate, and I have to treat it as a business. It can't be a hobby. Like for example, like my coaching business, if I don't treat it as a business, as just a hobby, then I'll be like, oh, it's okay. You can pay me $50 or $40. That's fine. I'm not trying to make money. It's okay. I have my
Yeah.
full-time job. So you won't take it as seriously. So it's a different mindset. So first of all, ask that question, hobby or business. Okay. So if
Yeah.
it's hobby, I think my answer would be have a budget. And if you can afford it, you set aside how much money you want on your hobby. That's fine. I don't judge people. If someone wants to drink every day, then I think that's on them. Like I'm not their health coach or whatever, as long as they can afford it. When I say you can afford it, that means that they're on passive cash flow, they're able to save money, they're able to move towards their financial goals they want, and they're still able to pay all their bills and etc. other cost of living expenses and whatever they want to do. Okay. So that would be my question, hobby. Then can you afford it? and is that part of your budget? Okay, so if it's
Yeah.
a hobby, if it's a business, then you're gonna have to determine, because sometimes technically for business the first year you're gonna have a loss, or first 2 years or something. I mean if you don't set it up correctly. So that's why I started my business the first 2.5 years. I was working full time while working on my business, and then it was pretty much negative for the 2 years. Then last year I was positive, and that's the time I actually, when I quit my job, I changed a lot of my processes, my business, my pricing, because I was not charging pay per session anymore, and I really I increased my price to the market rate. It's not like, because I didn't really need the money because I had a full time job. Now I need the money because this is my full time job now.
Hmm.
So then you have to figure it out. Okay, if it's business, then you're gonna see, okay, what is your trajectory? Like, people do have business plan. I mean, I don't have a formal business plan, it's just in my head, but you're gonna have to decide how do you want that to be. Okay, so that's two first important thing you have to ask yourself. Is this a hobby, or is this gonna be a business? Because if this is a side hustle, it is a business, it's a side business.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
keyword business.
Okay.
Okay, so so yeah, hopefully that answered your question. And then
Hmm.
I think you kind of had you were talking about the no formula podcast, if you want to get into it, or
Well, because
oh,
then if, let's say I do
mm-hmm.
decide it's a hobby, and I know you
Okay,
said you can
yes,
spend whatever you want on a hobby, but
mm-hmm.
do you
Mm-hmm.
think there's like a set price that people should start with? Like,
um
oh, I'm into fishing and I set
mm-hmm.
aside, okay, $300 a month. What
Mm-hmm.
do you think is a reasonable amount? Because
A
I can
reason.
go all out, right? I can do ads for podcasts. I
Sure,
can go
sure,
crazy,
sure.
right?
The only guideline I will give you: are you on positive cash flow? So how much are you
Hmm.
wanting to save per month? Okay, so it's all in your budget. So let's say you bring in $4,000 a month. Okay, so let's say, I don't know, $2,000 goes to your non-discretionary, meaning your bills, your rent, blah blah blah. So you have $2,000 left. So how do you want to allocate that $2,000? How much do you want to save? What is your goal for saving? Look at your savings. Like, how are you doing on your savings? Okay, so it's very important for savings. You need to have that minimum, at least 3 to 6 months worth of cost of living expenses. For
That's
savings, like
savings.
savings or checking, doesn't matter. It's like cash, cash
Hmm.
meaning savings or checking, those two places where you can liquidate like ASAP. Okay. So then you have to decide, like 3 to 6 months. It all depends on the client's risk tolerance. So you have that's like the most important foundation. So
Hmm.
after you met that, so let's say, you already met all of that, you have $2,000 extra. What are you gonna do with the $2,000? Then you have to split that up between, like, how much for food, how much for fun activities, how much for shopping, whatever. So for me, I really only have three main categories. I don't like to make it complicated. Food is a big part. Everyone has to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
So
you love going to restaurants.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love that. So my food budget is actually pretty high, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I can afford it. So
That's
so
really
food,
good.
yeah. So there's food, and there's fun or discretionary, and then third one. Usually that could be for people with kids. Is usually a kids category. So after that, so your fun, other you want, you can have that hobby category, a hobby
Yeah.
category. So you have two
Mhm.
thousand dollars. Okay, so you already met your 6 months discretion savings. So $2,000, where do you want to put that? Have you maximized your 401k, your retirement? Okay, then you have to decide where that goes. So again, like, I'm not here to judge people. What are their priorities? So I have to ask them, what's your values? What's most important to you?
Mhm.
So if doing the podcast makes you very happy, then okay, then I mean, how much are you willing to allocate based on the $2,000? And you decide how to allocate the $2,000. I'm not here to tell my clients what to do. So it's like, okay, then how much is it? What's reasonable? As long as for me, a non-negotiable is that you have to be on positive cash flow. Okay. If
Okay.
my clients
So
are negative, then I'm gonna, like, okay, whoop there. It's like, okay, then I don't think you can afford your hobbies. Okay, then we have to think about something else. Yeah.
So one thing that you said was that you
Yeah.
should have 6 months of savings.
3 to 6 months, or even up to a year, if some, depending on the risk tolerance of a client.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now what if I don't have that?
Then forget the hobbies. Then
Okay. 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 So if I
because
don't
no,
have
you
that,
need it. Yes.
no hobbies, how much should I be putting towards that then every month? As much as I can?
The savings, yes,
Yeah.
till
Okay.
yes, till you meet that, because you really need that. I mean, think about that. It's coronavirus. Let's
Yeah.
say you lost your job.
Hmm.
Let's say you don't have any savings.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna fund yourself? if you have no government, well, luckily the government is still trying to help us. But let's
Yeah.
say like we run out of government help,
Hmm.
how are you gonna survive?
Yeah, you need that
Yeah. Yep.
regardless.
Otherwise, then it's gonna be credit card, and then do you really
Yeah.
want the credit card debt, right? Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
then I think that answers all my questions about hobbies and side business and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now kind of moving on to investment and kind of making my money work for me. So let's,
Mm-hmm.
like right now, I honestly don't know how much I have in my savings account, but let's say I have for 3 to 6 months. Okay. Let's say that's already done.
Mm-hmm.
And now I was thinking, okay, I want to invest in like property, right?
Okay.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about stocks, and we can talk about that later a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
in property, I understand that you buy it, you keep it, you can rent it out, you keep it, you rent it for, I don't know, whatever, 10
Mm-hmm.
years, and then you sell it and you make a profit or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Or no? Okay.
Okay.
And
Sorry, I got distracted by the comments. People are
okay,
talking
what are
here.
people saying? I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Let's read to the sorry. Let's read to the comment. William
Yeah.
has a lot to say here. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see. You see the comment, right? It's on the right side.
Oh,
Yeah, you can see the comments too. Okay.
very
So
cool.
William, okay, Gabe said your business Gabe said your business plan is in your head. Yeah, Gabe, that's just me. I mean, I'm not saying everybody should have a business plan in their head. So I'm not one to have formality, because that's why I quit my corporate job, because I don't like formality. I like something that works for me. So that's not for everyone. And then it's been working for me. My business is going great, and I just go with the flow. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. It's not for everyone. You have to do what's best for you. Okay, so William said, "Great answer, Christine. For me, my hobby spending is the minimum amount that I need in order to be happy enough for everyone around me to not walk on eggshells." Thank you, William. Okay, then plus an emergency fund, then no hobbies. Okay.
Yeah.
And then okay, so William said, yeah, real estate, there are REITs, and it's called real estate investment trust. So I'm not gonna get into that, because then I'm okay. So here's the thing, I want to be clarified. So for investment, even financial advisors, they can't talk so much about investments on social media. So if you notice, like, you won't see a lot of investment advisor, financial advisors giving investment advice on social media, except for Instagram, where random people are like giving whatever advice. So because Instagram is not really being seen by the compliance, so they don't really look at that. So I would be very wary of people following any Instagram tips, whatever, because like for them to be compliant with the state, you have to be under contract with an advisor for them to give you specific investment advice. So I can only give like general. So in terms of like buying a condo as an investment, like how do I plan for that financially? So yeah, you said like if you already have your 6 months worth of cost of living expenses, and then let's say 6 or to a year, then yeah, then
Yeah.
if you have that 2,000, let's say you have the $2,000 extra, then you're gonna have to decide, okay, so how much to hobby, how much to food, how much to everything else, and how much are you willing to put on your condo? Because then if you're plan to buy a condo, and do you mean investment or as a residential, as a place for you to live at?
I haven't really decided because I
Okay.
know here in Canada, if you live in it, the down payment drops drastically. So
Okay.
normally it's 20% here,
Okay.
from what I
Okay.
know, and then if you live in it, it's 5%. So
Oh,
let's say if
okay.
you get a duplex and I
Okay.
live in one, then the other one I can rent out,
Oh,
but it's 5%. So it's a
got
little
it,
bit
got it.
different.
Good. Yeah, here in the U.S., I mean, for you to avoid the mortgage interest (PMI), then you have to put 20% down. Yes, you can go as low as a down payment, but I don't want to have to pay the mortgage interest, because it's expense loss pretty much. So let's say,
Yeah,
okay, so if you're gonna live there, then 5% down, like, I mean, that's pretty good. That's very
that's
low
good, right?
down payment. Yeah, that's very, very low down payment. But I don't know how your mortgage payment will be if there's gonna be mortgage
Hmm.
interest. So let's say there's
Yeah,
no mortgage interest there in Canada. I think that's actually a very good deal. Then you're gonna have to look. That's why budget is very important. Okay, this is your new mortgage. You have to look at the property tax. and then what else? Insurance and whatever that comes with an investment. I don't know, you have HOA, homeowners association fees as well. So here in
Mhm.
US, we have HOA for any condo. So you have to add all of the expenses to your budget. Can you afford it? Then you're not gonna have $2,000 left over after like the new expense. Then like
Mhm.
how are you gonna allocate that? So that's when the budget comes in place for you to plan how our things are gonna go. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yep. So yeah. So and again, it's all short term. If you're gonna buy some whatever investment or to live in it, then the place for you to safely save for that is gonna be in a savings or CD or something more stable. Because if you
Okay.
invest in like whatever the market, you just don't know how the market's gonna go. I mean, you talk to any financial advisor, if you want it safest, like a year or two near term, there's no other place besides just a savings or CD or those very like for sure, like it's a guaranteed rate of return. Even
Mhm.
though it's very low, but it's a guaranteed rate of return because in the market you're investing there, you're going with the flow of the market, and you don't
Yeah.
know where the market's gonna go. Who knows? Like COVID's gonna become worse, then it's gonna tank, and then you're like, you save 10 grand. Later on, when you're about to put down payment, it went to 8 grand. I'm like, crap, I'm 2 grand less. Like then it's like then even the two
Yeah.
grand is like you're like you didn't hit your 20% or 5% down payment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because then I was also thinking, okay, investment property, stocks, maybe a mix of both. But honestly, I don't know enough about stocks to like
Mm-hmm.
just dive right in there,
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know your opinion. Is whenever I'm thinking about stocks, do I go to a financial advisor? Do I do research
Mm-hmm.
on my own? How do I
Mm-hmm.
know what's true and
Mm-hmm.
what's not? Because every time I go to a different resource, it says something different. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused.
Yeah. So for Canada, I would go to a Canadian financial advisor or a
Mhm.
financial advisor that can practice in Canada, because like in US, most likely they can just practice in US.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I mean I when clients come to me, I don't give them specific investment recommendation. I'm not legally
Okay.
allowed to. Okay, but what I do is that I teach them about investments. What that means is that I teach them about how stocks works, how investments work, how mutual funds work, how ETF works, how retirement target fund works, and I don't know how Canada works. So I'm always weary to accept international clients when it comes to talking about
Mhm.
investment because or tax stuff like tax or investment. I don't even touch when it comes to international client. But if they want to work on money mindset, their relationship with money, transforming that relationship, for sure, I can accept anyone around the whole wide world. So yeah, just to be clear, and then oh, and let me just read on the comments.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So yeah, William, okay, index funds. Okay, we talk about that. And then okay.
Thank you, Will.
So
Do not go to an advisor for stocks.
wait, wait,
Thank you.
wait.
That's what I needed to know.
Okay. Okay, Jill said do not go to an Okay, so no. So okay, what will thanks for your opinion, William. But no, you do have to go to a trusted financial advisor. I'm sure
Mhm.
you can find some on LinkedIn too, or like referrals. But you have to do your due diligence, and then like and the problem with advisors and is that you give them your money and they're gonna charge you a fee. So I would research around like even like robo advisors. I don't know if there's robo advisors in Canada. Might be different. Here in the US we have the Betterment, Wealthfront. So I would just Google robo advisors Canada or
Mhm.
financials. Just start talking to a financial advisor in Canada, and then just talk and make sure like you have to really do your due diligence. Ask them how are you charging your fees. So if it's a percentage of your whatever your assets, then I normally don't like that. I prefer to actually go with an advisor who actually teach me how to do the investments and I can learn myself. Because even me as a
Yeah.
coach, I follow the philosophy, I will teach you how to fish. I don't want to manage your assets. I don't
Yeah.
want to fish for you. So but lots of advisors, that's how they make money, by you giving their assets to them and then they manage it for you. So anyway, some people do need it, some people I'm just more a fan of like I will teach you how to fish. Okay. So
Mhm.
all right. So they always push okay. All right. So all right, so let's go to the question.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for the investment questions, you kind of answered them. They're very specific, but I guess because we're in different countries, it kind of varies. But you mentioned budgets.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to move in with my boyfriend, and we created this preliminary budget. right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I suggested we do was, okay, while we're not living together, let's kind of track how much we
Mm-hmm.
spend already,
Okay.
and then kind of take that number and then see how much we make and compare it, whatever, and create our budget that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then there's like one thing that came up that's actually not on my, it's not, I don't even think it's in my questions that I sent you. But let's say you put something on a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
You put something on a credit card, you only have to pay it the month after.
Mm-hmm.
So that's confusing.
Oh, yes.
Because
Yes.
then if your cash flow, you technically the cash flow of the month is still there,
Okay.
but it's just delayed, right?
Okay.
So how
Yeah.
do I?
Yes, yes. So this is what I teach my clients. So that's a basic of like cash flow. So you do when you budget is month by month budgeting. Okay. So and I understand about the credit card. So one way you change your credit card closing date to the end of the month. You know, there's a closing date and there's a
Yeah.
due date, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know about Canada if it's the same, but closing date, let's say is the 30th. I always change. I even tell all my clients to change your closing due date to the end of the month, 30,
Okay.
29, or 30th. Okay. Typically they give you 23 days to pay. So when you have a budget month by month, so you close the month, this is how much you spend, how much you made. So when you spend, because it's a soft dollar when you charge your credit card, right? But you're putting on the budget, so you know you're not gonna overcharge, right? You have not paid for it yet, so it's like a soft dollar, soft input, right? So the
Yeah.
goal is that you enter whatever. See the $2,000. Remember, you allocate. Let's say 1,000. You allocate. There's $1,000 left. Then that whatever. Then you don't know how much you've spent. Maybe you've spent all the $1,000. You don't know. So you have to track everything. So when you track everything, let's say you spent $600. Of course, you have not paid for it. So one way to fix that, after the month is closed, your statement is closed. You're gonna have your June closing statement. You compare that how much you spent to the budget, how much would you actually whatever track. So make sure it matches. That's how you're gonna find things that are off as well. So if it matches, so
Yeah.
then I make sure it matches. That's how you reconcile between the two. Okay.
Okay.
So when it matches, then you just pay it off the next day, and then you're done. June is done. You pay it off, and it's done. You can see, okay, like all the ins, all the outs, and then like you pay off your credit card end of the month once it closed, and how much is you're left with. That's the balance. Is gonna add to your savings, and that's what you should see your savings grow per month based on what's left.
So when you're budgeting everything, or when you're tracking everything that you buy, is it by
Mhm.
vendor? Like, do you have to do it like by line item? Is it has to be perfect?
Mhm.
Like, oh, I went to Walmart, let's say, and then do you have to like divide everything that you bought from Walmart?
No, I just total it up. So just per
Okay.
receipt, because think about it as per charge. How
Okay.
much is
Okay.
per charge? Because you are just trying to reconcile between that total with that
It's
and the
okay. Yeah.
total
True.
on the
True.
credit card.
On
And
the credit card.
if you wanna make a comment, that's where there's a description there. Like you can just put like a very short comment for you to remember. I don't know, like grocery or like household items. Just
Okay.
something short. And then you want to get as detailed as you want. That's up to you. Because like when you reconcile, then you can at least remember where you're at. I have spreadsheet all the way back till 2005, so I can literally go back to 2005 and be like, oh yeah, I can just easily search because I love my spreadsheet. I mean, you can use all kinds of tools, right? There's Mint. Actually, no, I don't recommend Mint much. It's actually very reactive, not proactive. You want a proactive tool. YNAB is a proactive tool. Every dollar is a proactive tool. Spreadsheet is a proactive tool. Google's a proactive. What I mean by proactive is like when you're actually before you spend money, you go to that app and see how much do you have left. Let's say your budget for food is $400, and you've been eating out, and it's like only half of the month away. You spent $300, and you only have $100 left, and you're like, okay, I guess
So
we're
you
gonna
have to
have to
update
fix
it
that.
as you go. You're
Yes,
updating it throughout the month. Okay.
exactly.
It's
It's
not one time at the end of the month.
no, do not do that. My clients always tell me, and then they come to me and they're like, "Do I have to update this all the time?" I said, "Well, when you're eating and you're trying to be healthy with your calories, do you just track your calories once a week or like every 2 weeks, and then hopefully to
Oh,
catch
yeah, you
up?"
got them.
I always use an analogy with that.
Yeah.
So it's like just like with healthy eating, you have to eat healthily forever, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
cannot just like eat healthy 3 months. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go like have fun. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with money. You have to be good with your money forever. It's the forever relationship. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me read the comments
Yep.
really quick. Okay. So
Let me move my phone.
we have a few $100s per month, but if you miss a payment, then the interest. Oh, I don't know what Rob said. Your mind works so crazy fast. I don't know. Are you talking to me, Rob? Okay,
He's
David.
complimenting you.
Oh, thank you. David, I'm so bad with money. I don't even care about it. I just want to help people. David, we can talk if you want. Okay. So and then Rob said budget high for healthcare. So yeah, for sure. So I'm self-employed, so my expenses for my, I have to pay my own insurance. So it's
Hmm.
not cheap. And then unfortunately, I don't know about Canada. At least you guys have a good healthcare, but US it's just crazy. Um yeah, with US it's just crazy. Like we when we retire or something, we have to spend a lot more on healthcare. So I might have to just get out from US if I don't want to have to pay. Okay,
Come to
so
Canada.
yeah, I know, right? How do I become a Canadian citizen? Oh, I know. I should talk to Brian Golod. Let me
No,
tag. You know
yeah,
about
you
him,
should.
right? He's like
Yeah,
he's always talking
yeah.
about Canada. Like, okay, Brian, where are you? Okay, I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. He helped
Yeah, I don't know how
people
he
get
helped people go there. Okay, so all right, so
okay.
okay,
Yeah, so
right next.
so going back to the savings part,
Mm-hmm.
before we move in together, should we each bring savings or like rack up, let's say, I don't know, $5,000 before moving in together? Is that suggested, or can we start doing that once we move in together?
Okay. So I'll tell you about how it worked between me and my relationship. I mean,
Okay.
we're no longer together, but when we got together, so basically, I'm always one of the things I look for in a relationship is actually the person has to be good with their money. I have never dated someone who's bad with their money because I'm very
Mhm.
observant with that. You can see little things here and there, and then that's a non-negotiable for me. Even like I had a young client in her 20s. She was actually on my live stream. She told me like, yeah, after working with you, Christine, like now that I have a new boyfriend, I told him my non-negotiable financial literacy. That was like so that's an awesome coaching moment. I was like, wow, I'm so happy.
Oh, that must have been adorable.
No, I love it. I love it. I just wish all women or men, just like when you're dating, just like pay attention to the person. Okay, so let's
Mhm.
say, okay, between you and your boyfriend. So, okay, between me and us, like what we did, like I trusted him with his finances. We pretty much had separate finances.
Mhm.
Okay, so everything's separate. I buy my own toys. He buy his own toys. It doesn't care. You whatever you spend on whatever you want because I pretty much trust you with whatever you spend. That's your money. And then we
Mhm.
have our joint stuff too. But actually, we didn't really have a joint till we bought this home together. Okay, so before that, it's literally we were just spending ourselves. And then when we go out to eat, so it's like I pay, he pays, I pay, he pays. So there's always a fairness there. There's a
Mhm.
trust and fairness. So if you're gonna live together, okay, so you can do a joint, and then the joint will be for your apartment. Any apartment expense that will be joint, and you guys will figure out what do you want to go to the joint. What are the expenses that would come from the joint? You figure out
Mhm.
how much money to put in there. So for our home, right, we had the mortgage, we have our dog expenses, we have our housekeeper expenses, we have property tax, home insurance, and stuff like that. For you, if it's a rent, you have your rent expense, all the bills, utilities, and whatever other. As then, if you want food budget to put in there too, fine. Then you figure out your monthly how much that cost will be. Let's say $3,000. Divide
Mhm.
that by two. You guys arrange like we're gonna put $1,500 a month to the joint, and then whatever your individual, you guys spend on whatever you want. That's your own budget you have to take care of.
Okay.
Make sense?
So
Yeah.
we shouldn't have a joint account. I know Rob said it. I just saw he
Um,
suggested we don't have one until we get married.
it's up to you. I mean, like there's no one size fit all. Because like if you have the joint, it's just for the a joint checking. If not, if you're not comfortable, then don't do that. Because like I don't know what the legalities with Canada is, but wait, where did he say that? Yeah. So I mean, like I
Yeah.
I don't really have any issue with the joint thing, but yeah, because you guys are not married, then if you have the rent, then you guys have to just agree with it. So it's like let's say it's $1,500, then
Mhm.
750 is gonna go together for
Yeah.
that. It's just more for convenience purposes. So and then the bills you're just gonna have to split up whatever half on everything. Yeah, makes sense. And then in terms of your savings, I mean, who cares how? Okay, well, not necessarily who cares, but you do care that he is responsible financially.
Yeah.
there's no like, okay, you have to save 5,000, 5,000 first. Not really. I think that's more like, yes, it goes back to your basic foundation. You need to have your own emergency fund. He has his own emergency fund. In terms
Okay.
of you being together, I think your joint responsibility is really just the apartment stuff. Unless you
Okay.
guys are gonna jointly buy a home together, then that's a different issue.
Oh, okay.
Yep. If you're gonna jointly buy a home together, then
Then it's different.
yeah, you might need like a separate account, either your individual account, his, or joint, and then like then you save that together. William has a opinion. Okay, there's a critical issue in finances when it comes to moving in together. I invented online downloadable software wizard to deal with this issue 20 years ago. It is critical to have some legal documents in place before you move in together. Um, uh, I mean I don't know about that if you need a legal document, but yeah, I mean like I think William has a thing like, okay, I guess you meant to move in legal document mean get married or something. So a lot of people moving together even though they're not married. So there's really no issue around that. It's just that you just have to make sure that like you are protected. You have your own accounts. He has his own account. You have joint, and you have to really understand what is the law around the joint account, and then you're only sharing the joint account anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
In Canada, you are considered to be married at common law within as little as 3 months. Is that correct?
I thought it was a year, but it could be 3 months.
Okay. Okay, then you guys are gonna be like married then. So just take that into consideration. No, I mean like not married. Common law. It's
Yeah.
no, okay. Don't say the M word. Common law.
Also, Christine, if
Uh-huh.
you scroll up a little bit, there's a question from Shay H. I'm not sure what she's talking about, but I'm sure you
So
understand what she's talking about.
um, Oh, here it is. What do you think of Fundrise? Long-term return or short-term return? How long to make money? So Shay, I don't talk much about investments, and then Fundrise is, that sounds like some investment. So I'm not familiar with it, Shay, so I can't really comment on that. But I think that sounds like a real estate investments. And I don't really like, I mean, the type of investments I do is going to be real estate, which I'm going to buy in Vegas, and then I have my investments, which is the stocks, index funds, ETF, mutual fund, retirement fund, target fund. Those are mainly my investments, and then I'm starting to research into real estate. So I'll be moving to Vegas soon, so I'll talk more about that after this call. So we can take it offline.
Oh, you're moving to
Oh,
Vegas. Very exciting.
yeah, okay, that is okay. William said, I, I think she is trying to talk to you. Like, that's the right response regarding the M word. Okay. Rob said, I thought you were going to run away.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
I almost shut the whole conversation. I was like, oh, gotta abort this moving in together.
David said, marry him or don't do anything. Okay. Rob is asking, what city did you finally pick? And
That's
then
for you,
David,
Christine.
oh, that's for me. Okay, like yeah, say who you're asking because I'm not. I'm getting confused. Okay, so for me, Vegas, I'm thinking of Henderson in Vegas. So like I don't know if you're familiar with Vegas. Have you been there to Vegas?
I've been there, yeah, once.
Okay, so Vegas is like I'm learning now. There's a strip outside the strip is of suburban, right? So there's a
Yeah.
North Vegas, Summerlin, and Henderson. So after talking to a lot of people, they all recommend to do the Henderson because this is more the nicer and Summerlin. So I'm just looking mainly right now in the Henderson area. So it's kind of like that's where the airport is. So it's like the Henderson city. So I've been looking at that, and I prefer a brand new house versus an older house. But let's see, I still have to decide all that. So lots of things to think about.
There are a lot of shows on HGTV where they flip houses there. So you should
Mhm.
find a flip. You can flip houses.
Well, yes. But this is I'm moving there to for residential. So I
Mhm.
ideally don't want to do any fixing, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's for you, it's
Okay.
different.
Yes. Okay. So
Okay, yeah. So
William.
then I have an obvious question, last
Yeah.
question
Sure.
about my whole moving in with my boyfriend situation is what happens when we go over budget?
Um. Well, first of all, I want to figure out why did you go over budget? So
Mhm.
that the only reason people go over budget is that they were not being proactive with their budget. So that way, that means you have to regularly track your money. Okay,
Okay.
so regularly. So meaning, so even with my client, initially when they come to me, I make it an homework for them. Initially, like any money movement, you track it. Money
Okay.
coming in, money going out. So if you have daily money movement, you track daily. If you don't have daily money movements every 3 days, then you track every 3 days. So any money movement, because what happens that you become more proactive, you become more aware of your finances. So then it's like then you should never even over budget. Then like what I said, like your food budget 400. If you spend 300, you know you have $100 left mid month. So what are you gonna do? So you either have
Mhm.
to really skim on eating out, eat whatever food you have at home, or you're gonna have to add more to your food budget. Now the question is, can
Okay.
you afford to add more to your food budget? Okay,
So
so
just
it's
always keeping track and making sure you're ahead of it
exactly,
ever
exactly,
getting. Okay.
exactly. There's no way around it. It's just like with food, with healthy eating, you have to pay attention. You might not have to track calories, but you have to pay attention. It's being
Mhm.
aware of your health and then your finances. Okay.
Rob
Mhm.
said to kick him out. That's an option. So it's fine. That's good.
Yep. Yeah, I'm William said, do yourself a massive favor, schedule a free consultation with a family law lawyer before you move in together. Oh,
Okay.
William.
So much more advice than I signed up for, but it's great.
All right, all right, all right. Let's move on.
Yeah, so then I kind of wanted to address the whole money mindset that we were talking about in our initial interview and that I also brought up at the beginning of this interview. And I know that saving is good, but it's again the money is not working for me. So how do I have to change my mindset? Do I have to start, looking up more into stocks, into properties? Like what do I do so that I make it work for me?
Okay, so I'll tell you how I my finances is. Okay, so you can kind of have an idea. So I have my savings, which right now as an entrepreneur, I have 6 months worth of savings. Okay,
Mhm.
then after that, I maxed out my retirement already. Then I already done with my retirement. I invest everything. Where do I invest? I invest in target funds. I don't buy individual stocks actually. I
Okay.
actually kind of discourage that from my clients because the reason is that you put all your eggs in one basket. So I like to say that, if I educate my clients, so you have to look at basket. Baskets is like a mix of whatever different stocks. You don't buy individual eggs of the same kind. You buy multiple different eggs, meaning multiple different stocks. So you buy into that basket. So you're well diversified. So the baskets are gonna be different types of basket. So
Mhm.
it depends, like in here, I'm just talking about US. So with US, like I'm sure it's probably the same in Canada. So there's a large company, medium-sized company, small-sized company, there's international. So it's gonna be multitude of stocks. So if you buy that basket stock, you can have hundreds and thousands of different stocks in that basket. So you're well diversified. It's very important for you to be well diversified. So I invest in all of that. I invest in retirement target fund. I invest in diversification in baskets of stocks. So that's where most of my money goes. And now I'm trying to save for real estate. So because I have
Mhm.
enough already on my investments, and then now I'm gonna save on real estate. So I'm slowly saving. I'm gonna buy my own property first for me to live in, and then slowly start to build my real estate portfolio. Okay, so okay, I'm reading the comment. Okay, correct, sir. Pretend this hard, don't move in. A lot of people have opinions about you moving in. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, let's move on here. Let's
So
not discourage. Laura is a very responsible person. I'm sure she knows what she's doing.
it's okay. I'm gonna consider. I know William and Rob are very keen on giving me advice before I move in, and I will read through everything. I just have to focus on Christine right now.
Yes, you can read through. You can rewatch this and then read through all the
Yeah,
comments.
and
Okay,
then let
go
me
ahead.
read through all the comments.
Oh.
So then you mentioned that you have like you maxed out your stocks, and are those stocks for long term, or do you have any short term stocks?
Investments are all for long term. So I don't want to
Okay.
say stocks I just want to say investments because
Okay.
when people say stocks, people always think it's individual stocks, and I don't invest. I mean, I have some individual stocks. Don't get me wrong, because I used to work at Visa, so I do have Visa stocks. So mostly
Okay.
because they offer me ESPP. ESPP is like they give you 15% discount. So I mean, hello,
Yeah.
15%. So it's like that's like a great discount. I'm gonna go buy it. So yeah, so I do have Visa. I do have Wells Fargo because I working for Wells Fargo too. So yeah, I do have investments. They're all for long term. Investments are not meant for short term. Like I was saying, like if you're trying to save for your condo, that's short term. So
Yeah.
then short term is savings, and then long term is investments. So that's why a lot of people like, okay, when you think about investments for short term, like people always think fast money. Okay, so I'm gonna warn you, and then the guy like, there's no such thing as fast money. Okay, like that's
Yeah.
how people get duped on LinkedIn. Oh, I'm gonna sell you Bitcoin, Forex, whatever. I'm gonna make you $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, and all you have to do is just sit on your ass and then like not do anything. So it's like, so no, be very careful. There's no such thing. If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Okay, so
Yeah.
just be very, very careful when people promise you that I can give you fast money with investment. So no, it's a investment is for long term. Savings, when you save it, it's short term. So the
Mhm.
only way, like I mean, like the more like safer ways, like how can you figure out how to make more money, more income? So either through
Mhm.
your podcast, or through, I don't know, other side gigs or whatever, or through your
Mhm.
work. Hmm.
Yeah.
Make
I was
sense?
thinking short term as in like 1 to 2 years.
Savings.
Savings. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
like, yeah, or the William said, like index funds, but you're gonna have to pick the right index funds. So again, I'm not gonna get into it again. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm not even sure.
okay, so
Um,
Shay asks, wait, okay, Shay asks, how long should you invest before pulling out? So Shay, um, okay, so for me, I can only say about my scenario. So I invest, and I don't plan to take my money out unless there's a reason for me to take my money out. So my investments have been there for a long time. So I always invest for long term. So now that I'm gonna buy a property, I'm gonna slowly liquidate some of my investments, but I do watch the market. When the market is on high, I'm gonna sell some of this. So I'm slowly selling some because I need the cash for down payment. So that's hopefully to answer your question. But in the meantime, I mean, there's really no need to like, there's no need for you to withdraw unless like if you are good with your money, you should have your savings that you don't even have to touch your investments to survive on. Okay. And then like I'm only taking it out when I need to for like, for this big things that are happening. Okay, let me look at the okay, is there anything we all need to miss this guy? Rob said we all need to meet this guy. Oh my god, you guys cracked me up. Okay. I have so many funny people here. Okay. Okay, William said you can make great money in investments, but only if you're an expert in that field. Yep, exactly. Thank you, William. So yes, you can, but you have to know what you're doing. There are people who make very good money when it comes to Forex or whatever or Bitcoin, but they have to know what they're doing. I actually have a client. She's a young client. She came to me and then she's like, I'm afraid to tell you something. I said, what? So she said, oh, her brother got her into this what I forgot what's that called, like options or whatever, some sort of trading where you trade daily. She said, yeah, I put like $3,000 of my money, and she's not someone who has a lot of money either. So she put like $3,000, and guess what? It just tanked. It literally has like $50 now.
is there
Ser-
any chance of it going back up?
yeah, you have to leave it there. So
Oh.
so so same thing. So let me explain like what investment. The coronavirus, it tanked, right? So
Mhm.
you still own the share. Like, let's say the share was $100. Coronavirus, let's say it went to $20 a share. So you only lose money when you sell it.
Yeah, you have to
So
you have to keep it there.
yeah, for you to give that option for that opportunity for it to grow again, you have to keep that share. So when like before the housing market tanked, right? So it went down too, but then like over time, like it just went back up. But then since if you own the share, you allow it to also grow still. So same concept, with this one. So it's like I don't know what she did. I think she I think she sold some of it, but literally she has like $30. So I was like, okay, well, that was a $2,970 word word of a lesson for you. So I didn't make her feel bad, but I just said that okay, then
Yeah,
it cost her money to learn that lesson. Okay,
yeah.
so let me read through the question. I can clear a mortgage on as little only to when you are getting started. Okay, So William said, when you are only getting started, you should set a general rule for yourself. I would lock in gains after a stock. Okay, so he's getting into all the stock. Okay. Yes, yes, she went from 3,000 to $50. Trust me. Okay, so she's not gonna make that same mistake. So she learned her lesson, but it was an expensive lesson. So I would not recommend that. I mean, she told me, but after the fact. But at least she told me. She was afraid to tell me. So I told her, next time please tell me. But actually she did told me something else, that she was actually gonna invest in something else as well. So we talk about it, all the pros and cons, and she decided, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. So I'm glad at least she still told me, because some young people, they like to still do their own thing, and then they tell you after the fact, and then so but again, that's just part of working with different clients. Okay, go. Do you have any other question?
For me, I think those were all my questions. We pretty much hit like the hobbies, side hustle kind of thing, the investment aspect, and then the whole moving with my boyfriend, which everyone seemed to love.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of advisors after
Yeah,
that. So you have plenty of people to message.
just add me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, really.
We'll
Yeah,
chat
okay,
about
maybe
it.
maybe you might end on the blacklist now. Just kidding. Okay, so let me read to the questions. Okay, what are some I should look in? Okay. Okay, yeah, I think you we pretty much talk everything about it. So let me just look at all the comments. Oh, someone said I'm spooked by regular investments, but forex and Bitcoin. Okay, I don't know what that means. That means that, do you do forex and Bitcoin? Oh, that's Momo. I don't know why it says LinkedIn user. Yeah, Momo, do you invest in forex and Bitcoin? I don't know. But anyway, so I'm not saying like it doesn't work for everyone. I'm pretty sure there are people who actually do make money. It's just that if you really want to be good at something, you have to invest the time. Same thing with LinkedIn. Some people say, "Oh, LinkedIn doesn't work," but then like it works for me because I invest a lot of my time here. I invest daily. You have to put in the work. You have to have a strategy. So same thing with forex and Bitcoin. If you know what you're doing, keyword, know what you're doing, and you have the time to invest to know what you're doing, then go for it. If you don't have the time, then forget about it. You're gonna Is it worth it for you to lose the money, right? So then, I mean, do you have if you have enough money and then you can afford to lose, like, like a play money, then go for it. You have to think of it as play money. When I initially got into investment, initially like, I was actually playing with stocks. I literally told myself like I'm okay with the play money, losing that money, but it wasn't much. Like maybe I just put $1,000, and I was like buying and selling, just playing around. But over time, I realized I don't want to do that because it's too stressful. So I just invest for long term. Otherwise, you're gonna be spending your time on your phone, like watching. Oh, how's the market today? Oh, how's Tesla doing today? Doing. Then it's like then your emotions are gonna go with how the market is gonna go, and then
Too stressful.
I already had too much going on in my life. I don't have to like deal with that. All right. So yeah, you get thank you so much for joining everyone, and then for participating. So yeah, Laura, if you have no more questions now, then why don't you tell people like how they can find you, because I know you're on Instagram, you're on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Where else are you? So go ahead.
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, I'm Laura L. Bernhard. You
Mm-hmm.
can reach me on Instagram at No Formula Podcast. And you can go check out any episode of the No Formula Podcast at noformulapodcast.com.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, just hang in there, Laura. I'm gonna end this call, but just stay on, and then we'll chat for a little bit. Okay, thank you guys for joining.
Bye,
Bye bye.
everyone.
Okay, let me